Hi, and welcome to the Art Splash podcast, where we will have open and playful and also meaningful and thought-provoking conversations about art, creativity, life and spirituality. Hi, I'm Joy Fay.
And I'm Eve Marie Whitsun-Jones.
And welcome to our podcast. This is our 6th podcast, which is fantastic. And just before we begin, if you enjoy listening to this, please give us the thumbs up and subscribe. We bring out a podcast every Monday talking about so many interesting things. So that would be fantastic, because the more people that listen, the more inspired more people are going to be. And today we're going to talk about, are you living your dream? Which is an interesting subject.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Eve Marie?
Well, I would say we already are, whether it's what we think of as our dream or it isn't. This is kind of maybe a touchy subject, but I think that we do create our own reality. And so wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it is what you've created for yourself. And it may not be very nice and you may not like it, but it is what you've done. Subconsciously, somehow you've made a bunch of choices that have put you where you are today. So without getting into, all of the psychology behind it right away. But I think that it's interesting to think about what dreams, how do we dream, and what do we dream, and what are those compared to things like, what is a fantasy, or what is an objective or a goal, and to try to sort of work those things out so that you've got something more tangible to, work towards, because a dream can be very elusive and can be very almost unattainable. It's like saying, I wish I won the lottery, or I want to fly to the moon, or something that seems sort of really outrageous.
Maybe it should be more of what do you dream of achieving?
Yeah,
that kind of gives it a bit more focus, doesn't it?
Right, exactly.
And more tangible.
Something that you can work towards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, because otherwise it could be completely out of your control, like winning the lottery. Everybody, well, most people think of, oh, I wish I could win the lottery, and obviously that's something that that just isn't something you can control, other than buying hundreds and hundreds of lottery tickets, I suppose. But even
actually,
then...
I met somebody who won the lottery a few years ago. And they were actually in Marbella at the time, and they won a huge amount of money, and they bought houses and they bought cars and all this kind of stuff. And they landed up getting divorced and completely broke. They were more broke then than they were before they won the lottery.
I think there's a statistic about that.
I think there is, but this was kind of like
destitute.
Yeah, this was kind of like a reality, listening to her talking. And it was so fascinating, because she realized all the mistakes that she'd made with it. But it was a bit late in the day. And it's when it was all gone. It was a shame, but anyway, she was a fun girl, and she'd started a new business, and that was kind of going well, so that was nice. But yeah, I mean, be careful what you wish for.
True. That's true too. Yes,
but I think having a dream of what you'd like to achieve, I guess really that's more, goes into the box of goal setting, or setting yourself some targets. I feel this week I've done something that I've been procrastinating about for months and months, which is the whole, this whole thing on social media, and the algorithm, and being able to share your work. You have to go with the trends, and one of the biggest trends is doing shorts,
Oh, yes.
Short
True.
videos
Yes.
on YouTube, on
Right.
Instagram, on TikTok, blah, blah. And for some reason, I've had a great resistance about doing these short things. I'm thinking, oh
Mhm.
God, why do I have to do this? Well, and actually, I
Because
don't know
everyone
how
else is doing
to.
it.
I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
how to do it. And I think then so I've got to learn how to do it. Anyway, over the since we talked last week, I've actually done now 3 shorts. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've been through all the different tutorials and the different camera angles and how you edit it and blah blah blah. So I'm the sense of achievement is really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's kind of been interesting is to think about resistance. What's
Yes.
stopping us from doing the things that we would really love to do? And what we'd really love to do, I think, comes into the category of dream.
Is it what you really want to do, or is it what you think that doing it will get you?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. What's the goal for me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
learn how to do the shorts and do them? Well, the ultimate goal there is to be able to reach more people,
Right.
hopefully to inspire more people, to have
Yeah.
more connection, to spread the word.
So it's a
You
means
know,
to an end in a way, isn't it?
yes, but it's a
Yes.
positive means to
Oh,
an
for
end.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, means to an end is, I don't know, there's a connotation in my mind that could be negative or manipulative, and it's not
Okay.
really.
No.
But I just this little exercise
Mm.
um, has been really satisfying because I've been thinking about doing it for so long. It was the same actually with my online classes that
Oh,
years ago. I mean, I started them in the lockdown, which was in 2021, wasn't it? We were in
God,
lockdown,
I don't
or
remember
20.
anymore.
Yeah, in 20. Yeah, we started lockdown in
2021.
2020, and it went into bad lockdown in 21. Okay,
Yeah.
so then it was crisis. What do you do? But I'd been pontificating about doing online classes probably for about 5 years.
Mm.
If only I'd actually had the courage to do it sooner. I would
Yes.
have more experience and blah blah blah. Um, but the satisfaction of learning how to do it and doing it and producing it and getting a result, I think if we can get over the resistance and the fear
Yeah.
to actually put our dream or our expectation of what we really want to do into action, the satisfaction is fantastic.
So what was the, well, two questions. So first of all, um, what allowed you to get past that block to actually start doing it?
Um, okay. The need to increase my business, really,
Okay. Yeah.
and well, wanting to reach more people,
Mm-hmm.
but um, seeing that I was stuck. I was stuck.
Right. Right.
You can go onto just a plane. It gets so far, and then it starts. You get
Plateau.
onto a
Yes.
plateau, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I want to take it up a level, and then that will plateau, and I'll take it up a level. And it's trial and error because I've tried lots of different things, and lots of different things haven't worked.
Mm.
But I've tried, other things that have. And, when it comes to painting, we can all tend to get stuck in a way of doing something. Or it doesn't matter whether it's painting or whatever it is that we do, we get into like a way of doing that, and then it's difficult or challenging to break that pattern to do something new. But
Mm.
maybe we have a dream of doing something new. but we're kind of between, you know, we're in a comfortable position. If I go and do something else, I'm going to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a technique actually involved from my coaching that where you do a visualization exercise and you imagine it's all about procrastination, really,
Yeah,
you know, at the end
exactly.
of the day.
Yeah.
It's a technique where you visualize yourself, you know, in a year from now or in a month from now, whatever the time frame is, where
Yeah.
you anticipate that you could do something or you want to achieve something, and you picture how you would feel having done it, you know,
Yeah.
project yourself into the future and think about you're sitting, you know, you've achieved whatever it is that you wanted to achieve, and you can
Yes.
imagine how it would feel to have that feeling, and it feels
Yeah.
good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Oh,
Whereas
fantastic. Yeah.
Whereas if you
Well,
would picture yourself not doing it, how would you feel by not, you know,
yeah.
not having done it? And
Yeah.
that motivates you very often to get past that block.
And I think that the important thing is what I noticed with me, and I think probably it must apply to other people, is there's a learning curve involved in it. You know, you have to
Yes,
learn the
yes,
new skill of being able to do what you want to do. And that
yes.
applies to anything. You know, be it painting, be it cooking, be it technical
Yeah,
stuff on the
exactly.
computer, or, you know, everything. The learning curve, and the learning curve, you know, I struggle with it, you know, because I get into overload with my mind.
Right,
Well,
right.
so for example, you know, learning this stuff about how to do this properly, um, I've listened to, you know, many different videos, read quite a
Yeah.
lot of stuff more than once. You know, I have to keep going over it and going over it, bearing in mind, you know, my brain isn't as spongy as it used to be.
Well, yeah, I
Takes a
mean, it
bit more
happens to all of
time to
us. Yeah,
absorb.
yeah. You've got to reprogram your brain to think
Yeah,
differently or
yeah.
to do something new. And it's, you
Mm,
know, it's all about neuroplasticity in the end. So yeah, yeah,
yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Um, so I think the interesting thing about this subject is, what are you dreaming about doing?
Mhm.
What do you want to achieve? And then how are you going to achieve that to get
Right.
there?
Yes,
So you kind
exactly.
of start with the end in mind
That's right.
and work
Yeah.
backwards.
Work
So,
backwards. Yeah.
you know, if we're talking to people who say want to have an exhibition, whether it's in sculpture or in painting or, you know, whatever. So the idea is to then say, okay, I would love to have an exhibition. Maybe I've got to then think about why aren't I doing it? Why aren't I working towards that? And
Hmm.
mostly it's fear of people thinking, you know, oh, I can't show people what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's one of the biggest fears. I mean, people tend to even fear putting stuff up on Facebook, let alone, you know, doing a collection for an exhibition. Um, and then implementing it. Actually, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
So, you know, most exhibitions, if you're doing a solo exhibition, they need between 15 and 20 paintings. That's kind
Which
of
might
like,
seem intimidating, I would think. Yes.
well, if you're painting a lot, actually, it's not that many. You know, if you've
Hmm.
got giving yourself, say, a year to do it. I do an
Okay.
exhibition every year. I'm not doing
Okay.
any in between at the moment. So I've got a year to prepare. Well, then, you know, 15, 20 paintings is not that many.
And do you actually spread it out over the year, or do you do it all in the last 3 months?
No, no, no. I do tend to spread it out, but it depends on the theme. You know,
Yeah.
I want
Okay.
to feel I'm working towards a theme, and that might take me some time to arrive at it. But,
Hmm.
you know, for anybody, for example, if I said to you, you know, right, when would you like your first exhibition? What would be your immediate reaction?
I would say never.
Okay, why? Well, this
Oh,
is perfect. This is perfect. Why?
because I don't feel like I have the necessary experience and ability yet. I'm using the word yet
Okay.
to even visualize that at the moment. So I think
Okay.
my dream is quite sort of much less grandiose. I would say that for
Right.
me, my dream is to do a piece of art that I would very proudly hang on my wall.
Right.
And at least
Okay.
that gets me started, that gets me to the point where I feel like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. And I feel,
Yeah.
I feel good about it and I feel confident. So once I've gotten past that, I can then maybe start thinking about doing yet another and then another and then another,
Okay.
so that to build up my confidence and build up my sense of achievement, as you were
Yeah.
saying, it gives that positive
Yeah.
reinforcement, that positive
Mm.
feedback. And then I think at that point I would then be able to start dreaming bigger,
Okay.
kind of expand the envelope of what I think
So,
is
so
possible.
okay, then go go the next step. What would
Uh-huh.
be the next step?
Uh, I think the next step would be to maybe bring a couple of pieces to a market, to a local craft market or something. I don't know whether that's
Okay.
the right thing to do or not,
Okay.
but I guess that's the first thing
Yeah.
that comes to mind.
Okay.
And then, then it's out in the open for more people to see. But
Okay.
it's not really an exhibition. It's not at a gallery and
Hmm.
so on.
That's one of the things I used to do a long time ago. I used to be a member of an art group, um, an art society, and they used to do exhibitions. And there might, I don't know how many people were in the group, about 30, I think. And you could put two, three, or four paintings in
Mm-hmm.
to a group show. And that was a really nice way of starting.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely.
you don't
Yeah.
need then your 15 or 20 paintings.
Right.
You would need a few, and
Yes.
then you're with the group, and not only do you get the opportunity to show your work, but you also get the opportunity of sharing with the group members, and it's
Yes.
motivating, it's inspiring, you meet nice friends. So if you've got that dream of having an
Mm-hmm.
exhibition or showing your work or feeling confident enough to do that, which we'll come to in a minute, um, then perhaps see in your area if there's an art group that you can join, that you can be part of. So therefore you're not doing a solo exhibition, you're
True.
doing a
Yes.
group exhibition, which is kind of a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, the fear element of saying you're not good enough. Who says that?
Just
Why?
me. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you and many other people, me
Yes.
too sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
dependent on the standard of work that might be around. So that's the interesting bit, is the judgmental part of it
Right.
to oneself, right?
Yes.
Do you
Yeah.
know
Well,
what I
there's
mean?
just, yeah. I mean, it's impossible I think, to get away from, because, we naturally, compare ourselves to others, don't we? And
Sadly, we do.
yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to not do that.
Mm.
And um, I think it depends on how you do it. Perhaps if you do it from the point of view of learning from what someone else is doing, kind of trying to not copy them, but to observe. I had the pleasure, actually, when I was, in Canada, in Montreal, I spent an
Mm.
afternoon visiting some art galleries, and it was
Oh,
wonderful.
fantastic. Oh, lucky you. That's
I was in
fabulous.
heaven. I really was. And I was examining all of the pieces, and, up close, I was really coming as close as I could get to them
Yes.
to see, how did they do that? And I was asking the person at the gallery, you know, what materials they used and what techniques that they used, because they obviously knew quite a bit about. So it was a wonderful learning experience. So I think from that point of view, you know, you do learn from watching or comparing your, not, it's not a comparison, but it's basically, yeah, it's just getting ideas and impressions, and it was motivating. It
Well,
really
it's
was.
inspiring, isn't it? Because you can take home some of those ideas. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. And I feel that you know, it's important to say, what would you like to gain from whatever it is you're doing? So you set yourself some benchmarks. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you agree with that or not?
To set yourself benchmarks.
Well, you know, okay, you then maybe the question is why are you painting? You know, are you painting just for yourself? In that case, that's a kind of a different thing, and you will set a different goal for that. You know, it might be that you just want to have loads of journals and that you're painting in journals, which a lot of people do, which is fantastic. But, you know, what would you like to feel that you get from your painting that you maybe aren't getting yet? So you've set yourself a target, or I don't want to put it into business terms, but it is a little bit like that. You know, you need to set yourself a challenge, because that pushes you and, you know, makes you want to learn, and makes you need to learn. Like, you know, with me, with this shorts thing, I really needed to do it.
Right.
So I have to learn how to do it, and I've messed it up the first few times, and then I've discovered I can, you know, use different tools to do it. Canva is fantastic. I didn't realize I could do shorts on Canva, and I can. So that's made a big difference, because I then it's all ready to go to upload, which is great. So the point is that if you set yourself that goal, you force yourself into learning in order to achieve the goal.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah. So if you say, okay, in 2 years' time, I'd like to have an exhibition. And then you sow that seed, and, you know, in relationship to what you're, you know, what you're doing with your coaching and everything, and how that marries into all your, you know, Zentangles and the other things that you're involved with. You could really put together an interesting scenario of how that has affected you and how that progresses with your painting and your designs and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think for me, it's obviously different because I'm not doing it as my bread and butter, if you like, as you are, right?
Right. Okay.
It's more of an internal self-development, personal exercise that I'm doing when I'm painting or drawing or whatever, you know. It's a self-expression, and it's only for the purpose of myself, pleasing myself. For the moment, you know, perhaps at some point, and I haven't gotten there yet, but I think that, you know, it would be interesting, as you say, to set an objective of saying, well, why don't you put yourself out there, you know, and show the world who you are and how you express yourself.
So that's the point, really, when we say, what's your dream? You know, rather than just sit and dream about it, what actions can we take to realize that dream?
True. Yes. Yeah, for me, there's a certain element of anxiety, kind of, that I feel when I have an idea of something that I want to do, but it just seems so almost unattainable. It's not completely unattainable. It's something that I think I could do, but it just requires a lot of time, or it requires me to do something that I'm not fully confident about. And I realize that it often stops me from moving forward. And I think that I have to, you know, talk to myself and say, you know, it's okay.
I think a good question is, what will happen if I don't do it, as opposed
Right.
to what will happen if I do it.
Sure.
There's going to
Sure.
be consequences on either side. So which would be the one that would feel the best?
Right, exactly. And that's what I was saying earlier. Obviously, this visioning of the, what you feel like in the future when you've
Yeah.
done it is important. It really is.
Mm.
But even having said that, I think that walking yourself to that point where you're ready to start, and I don't know if you felt that when you were learning how to do the shorts, is that it's a question of telling yourself, I can do this. It's okay. It might be difficult at first, to learn
Yeah.
it or to do it, but I'm going to get through it and I can do it and take it one step at a time and, resist that feeling of being overwhelmed by not knowing, the topic or by not knowing how to do something technically and having the confidence in yourself that you can learn how to do it. It just might take a bit of time, right?
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that I think for me, I mean, I'm sure it must apply to other people as well. I build up in my mind all these ideas that, it's going to be difficult and I don't know whether I can do it and I've got to learn it and can I learn it? And it's all blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And actually then when you come to do it, it's so much easier than you thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
And then once you've done it once or twice, you go, okay, I can do this now. And all that anxiety and worry, and it's just a waste of time because actually, if you just do it and go through the motion, okay, you might make a mistake and mess it up, but so what?
Yeah.
You just kind of go again.
That's right. And I always say to myself, well, if that person can do it, or those thousands of people, or those even millions of people can do that,
exactly,
then certainly I should be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, all the younger generation are so much more into, TikTok and Reels and all this, that, and the other. But I'm thinking, my God, if they can do it, why the hell can't I?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
And I think if we could have that with everything, what have we got to lose? I mean, I'm getting ancient now. I haven't got,
Don't say.
A goal that I had when I was 40 is very different from a goal that I'll have now. I mean, in those days, you used to say, well, what are you going to do in 5 years' time? And what are you going to do in 10 years' time? And where do you visualize yourself in, blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't kind of got that space any longer. Well, what am I going to do at 100?
Well,
so if not now, when?
Right. I know.
If we don't do it now, when are we going to do it? And actually, what the hell have we got to lose?
True. And, that's, I think, the fear factor, as you said, comes into play. And I think as people do age and get older, they become more fearful for different reasons. Yeah.
Well, I think it's both. I think some people get more courageous and do crazy things.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, some people go, oh God, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. And there are certain things that I wouldn't do now that I used to do. I always was such a daredevil in my youth. I used to do crazy things. I've done skydiving and scuba diving and I've done bungee jumping. I used to do all these mad things. I wouldn't dream about doing that now.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm with you on that one.
But I guess it would sort of fall into the bucket list, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of these things that you wouldn't do now are more dangerous from the point of view of your physical health, aren't they? Right. So, I mean, naturally speaking, the risk taking.
The rope wouldn't hold me now on a bungee jump.
Yeah, no, I know. We become more fearful of hurting ourselves and getting hurt,
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, perhaps as you were saying, we should or could become less fearful of doing other things that are self-expressive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, what have we got to lose? Who, I know it sounds awful, and I don't mean it in an awful, but who really cares?
Yes, I know.
You know,
This
who
is when I say,
cares?
I know. Sometimes I go out and I don't even pay attention to what I'm wearing, and I'm out in my
No.
slippers, and I think, oh, I better put shoes on.
Well, nobody
Like, who would
notices. You know,
notice?
if
Really,
I
nobody's gonna
sometimes think if I
notice.
stripped off naked, you know, maybe one or two people would go, "Oh, there's a naked woman." But, you know, most of the time it's, you know, 9 times out of 10, we're all in a glaze. We don't
Mm,
see stuff. We just kind of
yeah.
go on our mission, whether it's shopping or this or that and the other,
Yes.
unless we really deliberately set out to go and look,
Yes.
you know, it doesn't
Mm.
happen.
No. No.
So at the end of the day, what is the fear about if we think, oh, you know, what are people are going to say? People aren't even going to know to say anything.
True. Yeah. And you think of all of the time that some people take in their appearance, and
Yeah.
making sure that their makeup is perfect, and the nails and the jewelry and the this and the that. And
Mm,
I think, okay, if that's really that pleases you to go to those lengths to make
mm,
yourself look, attractive, beautiful, handsome, whatever, the case may be,
mm,
that's great. But if you think that you're doing it because other people are going to notice and think differently of you, right? Judge you in a certain way, either positively or negatively,
mm.
based on that, I think that that's kind of sad to me anyway. I think
Yeah, but
it's kind of,
unfortunately, sadly, that's society. I mean, it's very much an external kind of attitude to everything, you know, taking selfies and putting yourself up on all
yeah,
these things. I mean,
yeah,
probably not so much in our generation, but certainly without a doubt,
right,
you
yeah,
know, younger people
right.
are tend to be very focused on all that stuff. I was watching a program on the YouTube. I can't remember. It was a documentary about something. About, oh, I know, kids. What do they call them? Parades, beauty parade things. And there
Oh,
was
pageants. Yeah,
pageant. That's it. We
yeah,
don't have
right,
the
yeah,
same
yeah.
type of thing in the UK, but yeah, in the States. And you know, as young as 6 years old,
Oh,
you know,
yes.
all the makeup and the hair and
Yeah.
the nail varnish and the lipstick, and I'm thinking, what? And then there was another girl who was 13, and she's a pretty girl, but she was obsessed with her
Mm.
makeup, and she wanted to go out, and her mother allowed her to go to nightclubs and all this, that, and the other, in these kind of, I mean, I sound like an old frump and whatever, but it terrifies the life out of me that
Yeah,
those kids, okay, they're missing out on being kids, but
right.
more importantly, they're missing out on being themselves,
Mm,
being okay with who they are. They have to put all this stuff on to feel as if they're acceptable to society. And
exactly.
society doesn't give a, excuse my French, doesn't give a shit, really. Sorry.
Well, yeah,
You know,
well, but
who
but in that,
cares?
yeah, I suppose though in their world, in the environment within which they, that they live, the people they interact with, the other children,
Yeah,
they do get noticed, and they do, this all this bullying. I know we're going off into a whole different topic here,
yeah.
but the whole thing about children, judging each other and bullying each other because of the way that they look, or
Mm,
it's, I mean, it's horrible, right? I mean, I think, and it's got nothing to do with who they are. They're trying to just live up to some ideal
yeah,
that, that, as you say, society has put in place and conjured and manipulated into making them think that if you
mm,
look this way, and if you have those clothes or
yeah,
wear those shoes or whatever, you're cool, you're acceptable,
yeah,
you're part of the tribe, right? It's all being
yeah,
belonging. It's all about
yeah.
belonging.
But if we
And
kind
yeah,
of, okay, and I guess we were like that as teenagers too.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
But I feel that if we come back to the point of what's our dream,
Hmm.
then a good question is, what's our dream and why?
Hmm.
What do we want to achieve from that? And I still have that question, why? You
Yeah.
know, why is it? well, I'm passionate about my painting. You're passionate about your painting and your coaching. You want to help people. I
Right.
want to help people. And I think that's one of my biggest whys. I would like to feel that somebody feels happier with themselves and they've achieved something because I've helped them to do that in that
Yeah,
space.
absolutely.
I think
Absolutely. And I
that's
think,
that's
yeah,
a nice
yeah,
feeling.
it is.
Um, and as far as my painting is concerned, I just love exploring possibilities to see what I can do,
Mhm.
see how I can push my own boundaries and discover my own creativity. Because, I think we tend not to know really very much about ourselves. What
Well,
makes
yeah,
us
it is a
tick.
discovery process, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which I think is really fascinating. I've been doing some things this morning. I got some fluorescent paint.
Oh,
That's real
wow.
orange. And
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I, I thought I haven't used fluorescent paint very much before, and I just I'm going
Mhm.
to put it as a background and see
Okay.
what difference it would make to the color on top. Well,
All right.
it's a
Okay.
very silly little thing, but it makes me happy to find something different that I haven't done before that's creative. And I
Well, and
think,
it's called play, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
and I feel, my dream would be to find something that I can really do, that I can really excel in, that
Ah,
I feel really, really good about.
okay. Okay. That's interesting, you know. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying about, feeling anxious sometimes, I think the way that I kind of counteract or sort of talk myself down from that anxiety to a certain extent is I give myself the permission to think of it as play. I'm just
Yes.
playing. I'm just
Yeah.
experimenting. I'm just trying it, and it takes a lot of the pressure off of of producing something that I
Mm.
think is good. Whatever that means.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then if I like it, I like it, and if I don't like it, I don't. It doesn't matter.
I know.
I either
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
paint on top of it, or I chuck it in the bin, or
Hmm.
whatever. And then I try something else, and then I try something else. And I think that having a dream is great, but also having this sense of having the dream change as you're moving towards it. Don't you
Yeah.
find? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, it goes into all different kind of categories. I mean, we're talking about art and artistic things, but it could be financially, it could be where you live, it could be your weight, it could be all kinds of things.
Yeah,
And
I know.
I think the most important question in any of it is to ask yourself why.
Hmm.
Why do
Hmm.
you want that?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I want to lose some weight because I know I'll feel better if I do.
Right.
And
Yes.
that
Yes.
motivates me
Yeah. And that's
sometimes.
one of the key, yeah. It's one of the key success factors actually when you're doing goal setting. And when I'm working with people to achieve a certain
Hmm.
goal, is this question of why.
The reason why you have to have a
Yeah,
reason. Yeah,
because
exactly.
if you think about it from the point of view of your values about what's important to you, and why, exactly why do you want to do this,
Yeah,
what is it going to give you, or is it going to, as you said before, is it for yourself, or is it to help someone else, or both? It gives you purpose, it gives you a sense of purpose as
yeah,
well, and it drives you towards achieving that goal much better, and you have a much higher sense of or sorry chance of success actually at
yeah,
achieving the goal if it lines up with your values and your purpose, your sense of
absolutely.
purpose in life.
And it's a
Yeah,
great feel good factor. It really
yeah,
feels good. And
that's right. Yeah,
um, I don't feel that there's enough people feeling good about
true.
stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel, the state of the world, it's in such a horrific you know,
Mm.
I another subject.
Yeah, yeah.
How
It's not
can
really.
how can each of us individually have some influence on other people around us in our own sphere, is to look at what's working, what's good,
Yeah, yeah.
and focus on that, because it's so easy to look at what's not working. And I think that's another really interesting conversation
Mm.
about turning the dial to what have I got that's good, rather than what
Yeah.
haven't I got that I want.
Well, it is about, the sense of
Yeah.
acknowledging,
Mm.
the
Yeah,
gratitude
exactly.
aspect of
Yeah.
everything.
Mm.
It is really, the secrets to happiness, no matter
Exactly.
what's
It's to
going
be
on in your
thankful
life.
for. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
when it comes down to your art, what do you do that you really love?
Mm-hmm.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
And then only maybe look at the bits that you need to improve the skills. So,
Yeah. And
but
what you love today might not be
mm,
what you love tomorrow. And I think that this
absolutely.
is,
Yeah,
yeah, I think, life is all about change, isn't it? As you
for
said,
sure.
what
Yeah.
you did 20 years ago and how you saw yourself and what you were willing to do is not the same
Yeah,
as what you're going to do, what you're doing now, or what you will
exactly.
do in 5 years.
Yeah.
So this aspect of everything is always changing, and not resisting that change and accepting it
Mm.
and moving with it and allowing yourself to be guided, to
Yeah,
in whatever
exactly.
way, to something that feels right.
Mm.
And again, sort of another topic for another day is listening to your intuition, and learning how to hear, your inner voice tell you
Mm.
that this is a good thing or good. Again, I hate, I don't like these terms,
Yeah.
good and bad. There's no other term I can think of at the moment. But it's really a way of allowing you to really tap into, that sort of divine, for lack of a better word, spirit that allows us to express ourselves and to feel that fulfillment and that sense of joy and happiness and achieving, the
Mm.
goals and the dreams that we want. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean,
So,
yeah, I had
so
this really
you've got
great.
a dream come true this week, I
I
understand.
did.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
So,
my website is up, and I'm very pleased about it. Finally, it's taken a while, but sometimes these things just take time.
yeah.
So yes, I'm very happy to say that my website is up now. So definitely, we'll have it in the
What's the website name?
So my coaching practice is called Neuro Creative Coaching. So it's
Okay.
neurocreativecoaching.com.
Right.
So the idea behind it is that I'm combining exercises in creativity and explorations in creative projects or creative tools and techniques, taken from art therapy, and
Yeah.
using that as a way of dialoguing that with neuroscience and using that to,
Fascinating. Yeah.
yeah, and using that to sort of demonstrate neuroplasticity and how our brain works and how you can rewire, the way that you think in order to get, to achieve your goals, essentially, is what it's all
Yeah.
about. Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic. That's
it is.
brilliant. So we'll put the information in the
Yes.
descriptions below. And if you are interested in doing some abstract painting and you haven't done it before, or you want a refresher, I have a free mini course that's available on my site. And if you want to join our community of artists, then we have a free trial at the moment. So all the information is going to be in the description. And we would love to hear what your thoughts are, what your dreams are, what your goals are. And if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments, because that's fantastic. So it's been a really good conversation today, Eve. Thank you. I'm going to go off and
Yes.
dream about my dreams. I've got a few more on my list that I want to fulfill.
Well, I can't wait to see them. I did see your other one that you put up this week about how to start a painting in a couple of different ways,
Oh
and I really
yeah, that
enjoyed
was
it.
fun,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was great.
that
I'm going
was
to
a
try
good
one of
video.
that second
Yeah.
one, that where you put the paint on and then you apply
Yeah,
it to the canvas. I think that's a really great idea.
that's a really nice idea, and I've done a bit more on that one, so
Oh,
I'm going to
lovely.
film part 2. I've actually got 4 paintings on the go, although I'm
Yeah.
only filming 2
Okay.
because I'm just seeing the process in the first 2, and then I'll do the other 2 on film. So I'm going to do those this weekend, and that will come out next week. And
Fantastic.
I've done a short one as well, so 2 short ones. So I've got a whole load of more to do, which is fun. Actually, I'm really enjoying it. So
Isn't it great? Yeah.
yeah,
Fantastic. Okay,
yeah.
good.
So I'll
Yeah.
be the short person soon. But it does make a difference on YouTube, to elevating the site. I mean, it's building slowly, and the more people
Yeah.
that like and subscribe, the better it becomes.
Yes.
So it's fun. I love it. Why not? So yeah,
Anything that you learn that's new, it just keeps your brain young.
yeah,
Yeah, it
exactly.
does. Yeah.
So I hope you have a great week, and we'll catch up soon. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed our interesting conversation. So
Yes. Thanks,
take
everyone.
care and have a good week. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.